Today I'm going to be talking about The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, which is a book I recently finished, and I'm going to be giving my review on it. So I really liked this book, really enjoyed it. It was a lot different from the TV show, which I'd previously seen some of season 1 from. I'm trying to get through it again now that I've actually read the first book, and I'm planning on reading the second one as soon as I get to the bottom of my TBR list. But yeah, so this is a dystopic book. It's kind of about a patriarchal society that comes about after a rebellion in the United States. It's called the Republic of Gilead, and it follows this one woman who's been turned into what are called handmaids. Basically, they're just there to be used as like an incubator of sorts for the men of Gilead. If you're familiar, you kind of understand more what that goes into, but essentially they're like just there to be they have sex with them, but it's completely like detached and like mechanical, just terrible, like abusive, and if you've read the book or seen the show, you know that like it's not always as mechanical as Gilead would like you to believe. So I think that my favorite part about the story was just how all of the characters felt so real and natural, and especially the main character, whose name we never actually learn. I know in the TV show they go with the name June, because that's one of the names of the handmaids who's never like mentioned again. We don't know exactly what happened to her. And Margaret Atwood said in kind of the open, like the foreword of this book, which is like obviously a later publication of it, she basically says that yes, in the TV show they use the name June. I did not intend for that to be the case, but it works, essentially. And June is just very morally gray, and I don't want to spoil anything about what she does, but if you watch the TV show, you already know part of her character has to do with how she came to be in a relationship with her husband, and but she's also a very caring mother, and she wants to stand against Gilead, but she also doesn't feel necessarily like she's this like huge rebel, like she's portrayed in the TV show, which is something I appreciated because I felt like it made her feel so much more real. You know, like most people aren't these like insane rebels who are just like ready to just go out and fight, even if it's like something that needs to be fought for. Some people are just complacent in where they are at the time, and they just want to survive, and they know that their lives could become endangered if they actually do go out and fight. So I really appreciated that about Offred, which is the name that she goes by in the book. Offred being of Fred, because the commander that she is the handmaid to, his name is Fred, and that's how the naming system kind of works in Handmaid's Tale. I also felt like the antagonists felt really real as well, especially Serena Joy and Fred, the commander, Mr. Waterford. They just felt like real people. Like Serena Joy felt like obviously kind of this like anger that her husband was having like sexual relations with this other woman, even though it was something that clearly Offred didn't want. And then whenever stuff started to happen further on between Fred, Mr. Waterford, and Offred, or June, if you're talking about the TV show, she becomes very frustrated because this is like her marriage, and it's kind of been falling apart since before Offred even got there. Which I can appreciate, like the realism of someone being so upset about that thing, but also feeling so superior and treating June or Offred just so terribly, and blaming her, because it is unfortunately really common to blame women for things that men do, unfortunately. Likewise, I also felt like the relationships between the characters felt really real. If we're talking about between Offred and Serena Joy, whenever Serena Joy tries to get her to sleep with the driver of the house to try and have a higher chance of getting pregnant, the relationship between her and the driver, the relationship between her and Mr. Waterford, as well as between her and some of the other handmaids, it felt really real, and it felt really interesting to see how all of the different handmaids reacted to the situations they were put in, as well as like it being very clear that just because this is the society they chose, they don't agree with everything of how it's run, for those people who are on the side of Gilead. I mentioned this before, but Atwood had a like introduction to the book where she kind of talked about June being like not the actual name, but just a name that has kind of been developed because she wasn't mentioned again. And also in the first like scene where you see all of their names together, June is the last one mentioned. They're all like in a line, and then June is the last word that's mentioned. But I also think that I mentioned in the introduction by Margaret Atwood that everything that she came up with for the story had to be something that's happened before in society. So if we're talking about like using women as basically incubators, or persecuting different Christians based on the sect they're in, or persecuting people who are homosexual, or persecuting like all of these different groups of people. This is all stuff that's happened before, and Margaret Atwood said in the introduction that she had this rule when she was creating the society, that she couldn't come up with something completely original. All of the things that were happening in the Republic of Gilead had to be something that she's seen in the world before, which I thought was really cool because it felt more real. Like it was just like one more thing that like tied it into this like real true story. My one critique of the story is that at times Offred would kind of go on these like little side stories about her mother, or like her relationship with Moira before like everything happened. And while I felt a lot of those did a lot to kind of progress her character and then learn more about Offred's mother as well as learn more about Moira, it kind of sometimes just felt a little bit extra, like we didn't necessarily need to hear some of the things, and it felt kind of indulgent, I would say. And that was kind of the general vibe of the book. Is the writing was insanely good, but sometimes it just felt like a little I don't want to say purple prose because I don't think that's quite the right way to describe it, but it felt like she was just kind of being a little bit indulgent with how she wrote. I did really enjoy the way she worded things though as well. As far as compared to the TV show, like I said, I haven't seen even all of season 1 yet, so couldn't totally compare it, although the Handmaid's Tale book ends before like the end of season 1 even happens, and it kind of change, like the way it changes is a little bit different in the way it ends, because it ends on a cliffhanger. I enjoyed the book a lot more than I enjoyed the TV show. Like I said, I felt like Offred felt a lot more real in the book compared to in the TV show. And the TV show felt really, really preachy at times, which is like it's like the point. I don't have an issue with, like, obviously it's a rebellion against this like patriarchal, like evil, oppressive society. So it's gonna feel that way, but just like it felt like June in the TV show was just like really kind of in your face about like being this like perfect rebel leader, when that's not, like, most people in like the society would not be like that. Like the rest of the handmaids, like a couple of them are kind of in this like underground rebellion thing, but most of them are just kind of trying to survive, and it felt more realistic for Offred to be like that, given that her daughter was like, you know, captured by them. They have her daughter, and at this point, and like in the book especially, and then even still at the beginning of the TV show, she still believes her husband is dead. So that would be my one critique of the TV show, but of course the book doesn't really always follow the same stuff as the TV show. So yeah, that would be my review of The Handmaid's Tale. You should totally read it if you get the chance. It's super good. I'm gonna start the second book the second I finish the rest of the books on my TBR. But yeah, highly recommend. Yeah, have a good day.